stops, pretty much all on Tuesday. So that was kind of a neat deal, bringing kids together and kind of throughout the summer, and wrapped up with championship at Lamar's. June-wise, very busy month for outings. Unfortunately, June 22nd, we did flood. So that was Saturday afternoon. By Sunday morning, I had some pictures I put in there. What we came back to on Sunday morning with a couple greens looked like entirely covered in silt, mud, whatever. We started squeegeeing, started cleaning things up. The old side, we had 4 greens covered to some degree. The newer side, we had 5 greens that kind of had more side, like kind of just debris, stuff like that. So not as major concerning to get those cleaned up, but kind of got everything taken care of. We had a couple of volunteer nights. I was looking, we had over 250 volunteer hours of somebody would come out for an hour or two and rake up, clean up something, which was pretty neat to see. A lot of people from the golf course came out, just for an hour, 2 hours. I mean, it was easier to not kill somebody raking corn stalks for 8 hours a day. So the hour, 2 hours is very beneficial for us. Kind of going through that, then I guess the big thing too was none of our maintenance facility, the cart sheds, the water was very close to going into those, but the elevations that everything was constructed at was just high enough to stay out. We did pull our equipment out of the sheds. We pulled all the golf carts pretty much and put them up on the hill by the tennis courts, and then we just kind of watched the water rise, and then it went back down, and we got kind of lucky that way. So July and August, temperature-wise, very average. The rain decided to shut back off after the water went down. We had a pretty good July, and then August was very busy again. So, I mean, the kids came back out. It kind of seems like their Little League stuff's done. The kids kind of really start to play golf, realizing that school's starting in a couple weeks. So then I just kind of finished up with the fall, September, October, November, December. People start to play less golf once Labor Day hits, but it seemed like on the weekends we were slammed still. So we had a couple of events. Our 8-inch cup was, we had 37 groups in the 8-inch cup, which was the second week of September. Then we went to the Northwest Iowa NIT, which is the college golf tournament, the following week, and they had their 20 teams with the mixture of men's and women's teams. And that went off very well. We did have the little lightning and rain burst on Tuesday that kind of sent a couple coaches nervously trying to figure out how they're going to make their flights back to, or make the bus ride back to the airport. But everybody got home. We had a team from Idaho this year. That was a new team. He was, I think, originally from somewhere close by that, I think in this regional area, and he came in this year, had an awesome time. He's been talking to a couple teams too to try and get them in. So, I mean, I think, I talked to Dan the other day, that's filling up. I think he's probably halfway through already with teams that he's kind of personally inviting to boost kind of the rankings. And then, so we had that the end of September. Then we had the 5-person the first week of October. We had 33 teams, 165 people. I remember when that used to have like 7 to 10, but I mean, people want that one last time to play golf. I think they all came back and see how the golf course had kind of recovered from the flooding. And so, I mean, that was neat to see. We had a good fall. Added some irrigation, started working on a few trees, added a little bit of cart path, and got everything blown out before Thanksgiving in preparation for snow, which we have not had yet. So hopefully we do get some rain coming up, but otherwise we're in good shape. A couple other little things. Emerald ash borer update for us. Like I said, we've been taking down a lot of trees this winter. We've kind of been looking at them. We really haven't positively confirmed that we have emerald ash borer yet on the course, but it's probably going to be here shortly. A lot of the trees we've taken down are ones that are too close together. We're giving the good trees that we have left, the maples, some oaks, linden, stuff like that, a little bit of air to breathe, rather than be confined by the ash that we have kind of planted. We always have some that, we had one get struck by lightning again last year. So those types of trees we've taken down, the ones that are split. We did start a new tree farm out by 5 Green. We planted a variety of trees. So those will be probably 2 more years yet to where then we can start popping those out, 2 to 3 years. And kind of reintroduce those on the course to where we thin some areas out to where we can put a new one in.
Brian, I noticed you did a lot of the work in the creek area, getting some of those wild trees out of there.
Yep.
Are the stumps going out, or are they going to remain?
Most of the stumps will remain.
Okay.
There's a spot to the left of number 2 that they're actually out there today cutting the stump all the way down so that we can go in there with the stump grinder and grind those out.
Okay.
Some of the areas that we've cleaned up along the creek are directly affecting sunlight to like that green. When we were sitting there looking at it before we took the trees out, we could look straight up and see tree branches. So I mean, some of those we're going to take out. Most of the stumps will stay in the river because we can't really get to them. They're just snapping the trees off to where it's going to open some things up, but just also we're kind of working on even areas by the bridges that the erosion, the flooding and stuff is, you can definitely tell the trees affect that and how it swirls. So we're trying to take all that stuff out.
Good.
So, and then the prediction this year, like I said, I kind of started with, I mean, the turf looks like it's in good shape. So if we can get a little bit of rain coming up and not a lot of snow, hopefully we'll be open here, I would think sometime in March. So any other questions?
A couple of my Snowbird Coffee group are concerned about the trees you did take out, that those are their best ricochet trees.
Corrects their slice.
Kicked them back on the fairway, so they're just very concerned.
There's been multiple text messages from other groups as well that have said something to that effect. There's no stopping the ball now.
So if you've taken some trees down, but left the stumps, that's not going to correct the swirl of future floodwaters, right?
Well, the
tree itself doesn't affect any swirl. It's going to be where that hits the ground. I'm just asking, do some of them need to come out?
Are they down like in the creek?
they're in the creek.
Yeah.
The stumps are all the way. I mean, there's literally like a 12-inch stump. I mean, the problem is when the water gets swirling up above and the corn stalks get swirling, and then you can see it's just interesting to see. I mean, when you really look at, we did have them out, there's 2 trees in the river, parts of them, and he was able to pull those out today too, to where that opens up the channel again, at least to where it's not like a big beaver dam.
Okay.
Most of the, like I say, most of the stumps, they're kind of littler. Nate and I have been in the river too, cutting all the little ones out that are, about the size of this, and trying to get those out so you don't have the bigger problems down the road.
Right.
Remind me again the time on when we're going to have that new bridge and realignment of the trail. Or is that maybe a better question for Jason?
26.
Yeah.
26? Okay, yeah.
I think in the fall of 26. Yeah.
Okay, so let's think forward. Last year, there was a lot of complaining about mosquitoes, and so my stance was, and still is, I am totally open to fumigating, whatever you call it, our golf course, and maybe even our parks. I'm not crazy about citywide. You got anything on that? And then do you have anything on what's the best way to contract that, buy that, whatever it takes to, because I have quite a few complaints about mosquitoes on the course, especially.
I really would have to look into that. I have no idea. I am not sure about what you need for a spraying license. I mean, I have my full spraying license for fungicide, stuff like that on the course, but when you start spraying mosquitoes, I'm not
Can
sure
you
if
look
that's
into
something.
that? I mean, honestly, is that something we wanna start thinking about? I mean,
And I think a lot of that was driven by the amount of standing water
well,
for,
there's no question, but it's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
I
But I
mean,
Hopefully
think
the flood, no.
but I think the complaining was short-lived. I think the
Yes, very
mosquito
much.
problem was short-lived.
Oh, 100%. Once it dried back up, I know they sprayed around the fair. They sprayed through the fairground, stuff like that. They did go down the trail of the golf course on both sides.
Did that
But
help?
it seemed like it was probably, honestly, a week late. I mean, the mosquitoes had significantly dropped off. And then we sprayed in preparation of the fair. And it just seemed like it had dried, the standing water had dried up. to
I
where then-
understood you only kill the larvae, you do not kill the active mosquitoes, if I understand right.
I am not aware, I mean,
I mean,
that's kind of
isn't that what,
mosquito-wise and treating, I mean, that's a different deal. I mean, I could definitely check into it. A lot of places,
well, maybe it's not something we need to, but I know the bike trail came up, and I realized we had a flood, I know that.
Yeah.
And I know from camping in other areas, we experienced the same thing. There was a couple weeks it was really bad.
Really bad.
But I didn't know if it was something we wanted to be more prepared for next time, or not. It's a question.
As I recall, there's very few, maybe even only just one person in the area that does that. If I'm not mistaken, the discussion was, there were not, and by the time we got to that, he was already booked solid, and I know Sioux Center sprayed and.
Remsen
you know,
sprays.
Yeah, so,
chasing
but by the same
mosquitoes
token,
over here.
but by the same token, I don't know that I necessarily want bug spray, on my golf ball either. Picking it up and, so.
Between that
I mean,
and
it's-
pesticide, I think you're
Yeah.
picking your demon, but it's a question, it's really a question.
but
it's something we could look into. I don't have the equipment to spray, I mean, I'm not sure.
And maybe you're not licensed to either. I mean,
I'm not licensed to spray for mosquitoes.
right.
I do not
A
have.
few comments that I have, and, all of the groups that have presented do a great job, but, that flood happened and you said we were closed for 8 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's remarkable. I think,
Well, and you can see what number one green looked like in the
yeah, and
picture.
that's what I was just gonna get to is, seeing the remnants of that flood, what you guys did was really outstanding to get that course back up and the condition that it was in. I know you had to shorten up a couple of things, but really amazing the work that you guys put into that. Another comment, and I know everybody likes our golf course, but I played with a group from Ottawa in Arizona. The young lady was from Germany. Her comment about 3 or 4 holes into the event was, are all the golf courses in the Midwest as nice as this? And so, this is a girl that's playing in a lot of different events. She's from Germany, she plays in Arizona, and she was impressed by what our course offered. So, again, I think we have a real jewel, and you guys do a great job with it, the whole staff. So appreciate it greatly.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brian.
Brian.
Jason, anything for the cause?
I don't have anything intelligent to add.
honesty is the best
Unintelligent? You
policy.
got anything unintelligent to add? Okay, Joe?
Nothing today.
Mark?
This Saturday, the Plymouth County Cyclists are having the DNF ride. It's for Do Not Freeze or Did Not Finish. We start at Bike Central. We'll meet there at 10 o'clock, right out at 10:30, right over at Brunsville. Blaine feeds us at the Corner Cafe, and then we ride back.
Cool.
Nothing.
I don't have anything. Clark?
Where are we at, Joe, on hotel tax? Where does Lamar sit?
We're at 5%.
We're at 5%. What's Des Moines at?
7.
Is this something we wanna look at? Cause it has to go on a ballot.
That's on the ballot.
I've brought it up before. I don't seem to get any feedback. Is that something we wanna look at?
I think it's all part of that Heritage Foundation discussion that we're going through is, and how to fund said foundation, which would be through probably a proposed increase, which would be on a November ballot.
Also, and then also having the hotel study, which should be completed within
But I
a
mean,
couple
we're-
months, what it contributes
we're-
to. We can't go to 7, but, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When's the deadline to get onto the ballot?
Uh,
Because I want everybody to understand this is a tax that's paid by everybody outside of this community. It's the tax I pay in Des Moines or Dubuque when I stay there. And I'm not sure why we're not maxed on it. Is there a reason you don't want to be?
I wouldn't think so, but
I think it was set before anybody on this council was seated.
Yeah, I don't think it deters anyone from staying here if we raise it. If they're gonna stay here, they're gonna stay here.
Is it 40, 45 days?
It's 30 to 40 days, so you want to have it done by probably August to get it on November, or shortly thereafter.
Right in there,
Sure.
okay. Well, my whole point is it is a tax that's paid by everybody not within this community for the most part. And so I think we need to look at that because we've got some good things going, Jessica, and, let's fund it, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
That's all I wanted to bring up.
Just let you know, no matter how I feel about a topic, I'll always be in favor of putting something on a ballot for the citizens to vote on.
I agree.
I don't have any.
Rob, could I add one more thing? I think I'd like to see it put on the agenda for a future meeting that we establish a quarterly town hall meeting like we had last week. I think we have to go that route to get it established. We can always leave it open on the date, but something per quarter.
I agree, and I'll visit with city staff and we'll come up with the next quarter date and we'll go from there. So each of those will be brought to the council accordingly, but target will be quarterly. So,
On that, I do think that, once we get through 2 or 3 of them, maybe even change venues if they keep the energy that was there. But we had a perfect night for it too, so I mean, it was good.
it was full, so, yeah, this venue was
Close to.
probably at capacity.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
anyhow,
Good thing the fire chief wasn't back there telling them that.
all right.
I saw it.
Okay.
It's still okay.
Yeah, good. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So motion and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.